Hello there, I'm Officer Candidate Shelley, and today I'm going to be conducting a review over Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, which is The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. In my reading of this book, I found that it was pretty good about being able to articulate the how of what Malcolm Gladwell calls thin slicing, or your subconscious mind, and the power that it has in influencing not only your decisions, but also your reactions to certain situations. The premise of this book is that it had the ability to make snap judgment calls without months of research, all while avoiding bad assumptions. I really felt that this book was an articulate way of being able to point out how we make snap judgments, how we make those quick, thin slice assumptions of things, and with training that you can pair that with your conscious mind to be able to make better decisions, especially during high-stress situations. This book is really all about knowing something without knowing why we know it. Malcolm Gladwell, in the opening chapters, talks quite a bit about an art gallery that had received the specific type of sculpture, and while that museum was showing it off while they had it and they were conducting research over it to find out if it was real or not, they had a couple of different art experts that had come through, and their immediate reaction to it was that it was fake, that there's no way that it was real. And when they were asked why, they didn't have a reason why. It was just their natural born intuition. And that natural born intuition is what eventually led to them discovering, after years and years of research and millions of dollars spent after they had already purchased it, where science had said that it was real, that sculpture itself was actually fake. That subconscious brain that Malcolm Gladwell talks about is that the part of the brain that leaps to conclusions is called the adaptive unconscious. This new notion of adaptive unconscious is thought of instead of as a kind of a giant computer that quickly and quietly processes a lot of data we need in order to keep functioning as human beings. A lot of different examples that were used throughout this book, whether it be our snap decisions and our prejudices, or months and months and months of research, kind of allowed us to get to the bottom of what thin slicing is, which refers to the ability of our unconscious to find patterns in situations and behavior based on very narrow slices of experience. Now, what I thought was pretty cool about Malcolm Gladwell is that he went through and kind of tied some different fields that people were going to be in and how they use thin slicing. One was a chair manufacturer, where they had already created some of the most ergonomic chairs possible, but they really wanted to come out with this new one, and they conducted a bunch of market research after they had created this absolutely incredible chair, and they found that people's initial reaction to it, even after sitting in the chair, was that they didn't like it just because of what it looked like. So because of their perception of it, it completely changed how they felt about the actual chair, no matter how comfortable it was. And then he talked about General Paul Van Ripper, and how he was chosen to be the opposition force for a war game, where Joint Forces Command had decided that they were going to go up against, a military force that didn't make decisions, but they had all of this technology and all this research, and they had diplomatic, informational, military, and economic acronym called DIME, and then they also had PMESI, political, military, economic, social, and infrastructure and information. And they thought that they were going to win with that, and how General Van Ripper said, no, we're not going to let you guys win with that. You can keep all your technology. And over the course of 2 weeks, with all of that technology and all of that research and all of that money and all of that funding that the war game had put into it, Paul Van Ripper's opposition forces, which had none of that, they were simulating a lesser country that would just act randomly, ended up overtaking the war game and completely destroying everything because they acted irrationally. And what Van Ripper ended up talking about with that was that was something called spontaneity. And that spontaneity is not actually itself random. It is that intuition coupled with experience. And I really think that's what the premise of this book is even though it says the ability to make snap judgment calls without months of research, is it's that experience that you have and the previous prejudices that you have, coupled with the snap judgments, is what allow you to make the best decisions possible, especially during high stress situations. And really learning to understand why you make those intuition decisions and those gut feelings that you get about things, is learning to understand how and why you have those prejudices, and then being able to articulate that from the subconscious or that adaptive conscious and bringing it into your conscious mind. Again, I'm Officer Candidate Shelley, and this is my review of Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.